If you grew up with a parent who was emotionally unstable or emotionally immature, you may have adopted a survival strategy to figure out what that parent wanted you to be, what they wanted you to do, what to say. And then you did whatever you had to do to give them what they wanted. You were trying to make everything okay. You had to. And most people who protected themselves this way in childhood have a hard time not doing it in adulthood. The name for this is people-pleasing. And I wanted to share with you this video from my archive where I explain why people-pleasing not only doesn't work, but can rob you of your own sense of yourself and the inner power you need to create a happy life. If you're feeling like the people you like don't like you, and you don't know why, the first thing you want to look at is whether you are people-pleasing. You might believe that all you're doing is trying to make them happy. But the truth is, and I'm going to be very tough love here, people don't like it. And it will, in the end, cost you true friendship and the people you're trying to please. People-pleasing is the act of changing yourself to make people like you, trying to match their interests and values, flattering them, and hiding how you really think and feel in hopes that they'll let you in and keep you in their lives. People-pleasing is really common for people who were abused and neglected in childhood, and it's like a reflex to survive at any cost. But in the end, it can cause you to feel unhappy and disconnected from yourself and from any kind of meaningful relationship with other people. And that's just one reason why people-pleasing can be so toxic. Now, of course, acting however you please with other people isn't automatically the right thing to do. Being selfish won't work either. Nobody likes someone who's a blowhard or insensitive to how they're affecting other people. But people do tend to like and respect someone who can simultaneously be considerate and aware of other people and be themselves. They care about how they treat you, but they don't worry whether you approve of everything about them. Now, you can probably think of people you consider to be really accomplished and cool. And cool is basically, that's what it is. It's being free from any self-contortion for the sake of approval. People who have a strong sense of mission in their lives, especially when it's different from the status quo, which all like change movements are, they can't afford to fit in with everything that already exists. The pressure is always there to conform, but their focus is on what they're doing and creating. And that's why the biographies of innovators and heroes so often have a turning point moment in their stories where one day they had to be brave, they had to stand up and be different and take the consequences. And it might not have been easy, but sometimes it's the only way to move the story forward. This is true in history. It's true in your life. You have to be brave. You have to be willing to be unpopular, at least at first. And you have to really, really work on yourself so that you understand the difference between being true to yourself and just being selfish. This is the difference between being brutally honest and being authentic. And I'll get to that in a moment. Now, even the small ways that you people please ends up costing you. For one thing, trying to make other people like you almost never works. Think about your own experience when someone was people pleasing you. They're falling all over themselves, agreeing with everything you say, laughing too hard at your jokes. You know, it's weird, it's uncomfortable. And they're just saying yes when you ask for something when they mean no. Sometimes we all have to do unpleasant things to help other people when we're responsible for them, or when we work for them, or when they are truly helpless. There's pressure to do that. It's sometimes the right thing to do to grit your teeth and just do the right thing. But if you're just trying to avoid conflict, or you're just trying to look like a good person, and you're doing some favor for another person resentfully, you're not actually doing them a favor. In fact, you're making things harder for everyone. And sometimes people pleasers then go on to make things still harder by holding on to the idea that, you know, I did this for you and you're not even grateful. People aren't always grateful. That's a fact. But if you're going around doing nice things for people in hopes that they'll give you something you want, something not spoken but expected, like companionship, praise, or inclusion in their group, you are headed for trouble. Maybe you've got tangled up in an insidious form of people-pleasing, hoping somebody will finally come to fall in love with you. That's the worst. What happens? The people pleaser ends up pissed off that their niceness didn't give them what they want. And after all they've done for that person too, the nerve, right? When you're experiencing that disappointment, the veneer of niceness crumbles away fast. It becomes plain to everybody that the people pleaser wasn't acting out of generosity or sweetness. They were trying to control the other person. And it's not a good feeling, and it's not a good look. You can't make people like you. Pretending to be someone you're not is, I told you this is going to be tough love, but it's manipulation. And manipulation to any healthy person has a bad feeling to it. Our hearts snap shut when people do that to us. We're out of there. And people-pleasing doesn't just push people away. If you live your life on a false basis, day after day, year after year, stuffing how you feel, who you are, justifying this, how you go along with things you hate, you can end up forgetting who you really are. And we see that a lot with CPTSD. You can end up in a life that you never wanted, fighting about things that aren't worth fighting for. Even if you win, all you get is something you never actually wanted. So next thing you know, you've developed real skill in hiding from your own common sense, and that can actually put you in danger. So this is what I call crap fit. You teach yourself to ignore what you're noticing and feeling just so someone won't get mad at you. In other words, fitting yourself to crap. I advise you not to become good at crap fitting. That's like being good at being a hostage. Sure, the kidnapper's nice to you here and there, but you never get out. And that's how abuse happens. It's how people stay and how abusers get away with it. Staying safe from harm in the short run is survival, but staying like that for a long time is a waste of your life. People-pleasing doesn't win real love. It's not attractive, it's not interesting, it's a turn-off, really. People who don't like themselves enough to be themselves and who are not sincerely interested in other people can be draining to be around. It's good to learn to listen to other people, to care about them, and it's good to set them free to be themselves, not getting bent out of shape over whether they're giving you what you want or what you thought you would get if you did everything you thought they wanted. It's good to be polite, but if you resent someone because they don't give you what you want, just move on. Find people whose company you actually authentically like, people worth listening to. That's one of the things about childhood PTSD. If you didn't get adequate attention paid to you when you were little, you can put too much pressure on other people to be the thing that feels like it's missing, that is missing. You can't get your childhood back. You can't get the love of your parents that wasn't given to you when you were a kid. So that feels like it's missing, and you put it on someone else in present time. And if they can't deliver, you're hard on them. This is one of the reasons childhood PTSD is so closely linked with loneliness. Even when you want to be close to people, you're unconsciously doing things to push them away. It's sad, but this is figure-outable. Figure-outable. Don't you love that word? Sometimes that's all you need to take the next step. That's how healing happens. A little at a time, staying focused, not giving up and going, screw it, because of little failures and temporary setbacks. Just keep trying, persevere. And if you'd like to learn strategies to improve your ability to connect for real with other people, you might want to check out my Connection Bootcamp. It's an online course. You can find out if that would be helpful to you right here, and I will see you very soon.